Touchdown, Alabama!
SEC champions, Alabama, Crimson Tide.
We talked about Alabama! Step back three, money! And the Alabama Crimson Tide will roll into the Final Four!
Roll Tide!
Roll Tide and welcome to Tide TV this week. I'm Lillian Everest, joined by Mary Reagan Bolig. And Mary Reagan, it's great to be with you here this week. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, Lillian. So excited to be sitting next to you here in the studio. Roger, we miss you. We know that you're in Texas covering the women's basketball team, but I am so excited to be doing my first show with you co-hosting.
No, it's exciting. Well, the season has come to an end for the Alabama football team in Coach DeBoer's first year as head coach, and we're starting to get an idea of what next season's team will look like with the announcements of those leaving and those coming back for another year.
The Tide's got some big news with the announcement of one of this year's team captains returning. Linebacker Deontay Lawson announced his decision to return to the Crimson Tide to play in 2025. The signal caller for the Crimson Tide defense suffered a season-ending injury in the Oklahoma game and missed the rest of the season.
Joining Lawson in returning is linebacker Justin Jefferson. Jefferson earned an extra year of eligibility with the recent junior college ruling, and also announcing their intentions to return are a couple of members of the Crimson Tide secondary. Damani Jackson will be returning along with Keon Sabb. Sabb also suffered a season-ending injury midway through the season.
Also announcing they are coming back on defense is the trio of defensive linemen. Tim Keenan III, LT Overton, and Jamarian Latham announced they will be back. A lot of big-time players returning for the Crimson Tide on defense.
And on offense, the Tide also got some good news in several starters announcing they will be returning to play in 2025. On the offensive line, one of the top centers in the country will be back in Parker Brailsford, and playing right next to Brailsford on the offensive line, guard Jaden Roberts announced he will also be back.
Also, a couple of skilled players made it known they will be returning to play for the Tide in 2025. Alabama's top running back Jam Miller and the team's receptions leader Jeremy Bernard will be back.
Those are some big-time players for the Tide next season.
Along with that news was the announcement of several players announcing their intentions to enter the NFL draft.
Defensive back and team captain Malachi Moore thanked the fans and the Alabama program as he will take part in this year's NFL draft, and also heading to the NFL draft is starting linebacker Jahad Campbell.
Punter James Burnup also announced he will be turning pro. The punter from Down Under averaged almost 45 yards per punt this season. Also going pro from special teams is the long snapper from Florence, Alabama, Nealon Hibbett.
And on offense, the Tide had a pair of team captains declare for the NFL draft, in offensive lineman Tyler Booker and quarterback Jalen Milroe.
Milroe also announced he will take part in this year's Reese's Senior Bowl in Mobile on February 1st. Joining Milroe in Mobile for that Reese's Senior Bowl will be his tight end, C.J. Dupree.
And Malachi Moore and James Burnup have also accepted invites to participate and displayed their talents for the NFL head coaches, general managers, and scouts. And speaking of the NFL, Mary Reagan, it's been a great year for the Crimson Tide alumni. They've broken records along with some great performances this past weekend.
Whether it's on offense or defense, former Crimson Tide players have shined this year. And talking about that, running back Jahmyr Gibbs of the Detroit Lions was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week as he scored 4 touchdowns in the Lions' win over the Vikings. Gibbs is also the NFL touchdown king this season as he had a league high of 20 touchdowns.
And congratulations to Tennessee Titans wide receiver Calvin Ridley. Ridley surpassed the 1,000-yard mark for the season for the 3rd time in his NFL career.
And next we have Coop. A Buffalo Bills wide receiver Amari Cooper surpasses the 10,000 career receiving yards mark. Coop joins Julio Jones as the only 2 Alabama receivers to ever reach this milestone.
And Derrick Henry broke several NFL and Baltimore Ravens franchise records this season as he became the first NFL player in history to finish with 1,900-plus rushing yards twice.
And last but not least, we have Bryce Young, who has been playing lights off over the last several weeks for the season for the Carolina Panthers. Young ranks first in the NFL over the past 3 weeks, throwing 10 touchdown passes without an interception. A great way to finish the season for Bryce.
You just love to see that, Mary Reagan. It seems like everything is starting to click for Bryce now. I can't wait to see what he does next season.
Yeah, Roll Tide to that. Some great performances from our Crimson Tide in the NFL alumni.
And another great performance was made by the 5th-ranked Alabama men's basketball team this past weekend as they opened SEC play against undefeated Oklahoma. We'll give you an all-access look at that top 15 matchup coming up next right here on Tide TV This Week.
TideTV This Week is presented by the University of Alabama, where legends are made. Ford, visit your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide.
It is just as loud here at Coleman Coliseum tonight.
I thought the whole crowd was unbelievable. I wouldn't miss anything you could possibly be at this season because it's going to be a special season.
Alabama fans at Coleman Coliseum have been so good all year long.
What a scene at Coleman Coliseum.
Let's fill Coleman every time we get a chance to fill Coleman.
What an electric crowd here.
Let's just support this team because it's not that often that you get to put a team of this caliber together.
Welcome back to TideTV This Week. I'm Mary Reagan Bollig, and she's Lillian Everest. And Lillian, this past Saturday, the 5th-ranked Alabama men's basketball team hosted the undefeated and 12th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners.
It was the Tide's first SEC game of the season. It was also the Sooners' first ever conference game as a member of the Southeastern Conference. Alabama used a couple of 7-0 runs early on to jump out to a 30-16 lead. The Crimson Tide dominated the paint early on, scoring 20 of their first 30 points in the paint, led by Clifford Amore with 8. LeBaron Philon led all scorers in the first half with 10 points, as the Tide held a 19-point lead at the half, 48-29.
In the second half, Alabama used an 11-2 run to increase their lead to 28 at 68-40. This three-point shot from way beyond the arc by Aiden Holloway with just under 3 minutes to play put the Crimson Tide at the century mark for the 4th time this season. Mark Sears scored 15 of his game-high 22 in the second half as Alabama handed number 12 Oklahoma their first ever SEC loss and also their first loss of the season as the Tide rolled big 107-79.
Really good first game. And the 2 years we've won the SEC regular season, I think we won by 22 at home and 18 on the road. I talked to our guys, like, we need a dominating win coming out, setting the tone if we're trying to win this thing, and I think the guys answered the bell pretty well.
The Crimson Tide definitely got a dominating win. The 28-point margin of victory was the largest margin of victory over a ranked opponent in the Nate Oates era. It was also the first time this season that 2 Crimson Tide players finished with double-doubles. Mark Sears scored a game-high 22 points to go along with a game-high 10 assists. And Grant Nelson also had 12 points as he finished with a game-high 11 rebounds.
Along with Nelson, Alabama dominated the boards all night as the Tide out-rebounded the Sooners 51-26. The Tide also totaled a season-high 22 offensive boards. With his 22 points and 10 assists, Sears surpassed the 1,500 points total and 300 assists mark during his career at Alabama. Sears became just the 18th player in Alabama history to break the 1,500-point mark. A great game for the Tide as they handed the undefeated Sooners their first SEC loss in program history.
Let's take an all-access look at the Tide's SEC opening win over the Sooners.
We're playing significantly harder than them for the entire 40 minutes, and we are not letting up. It's got to be the disposition to dominate them and take their will out right out of the gate.
This is a big-time matchup in college basketball. Big-time environment, home advantage for the Crimson Tide.
Y'all know how you get an SEC play. Hey, some of y'all ain't played in here, but some of y'all have. We gonna wake everybody up.
Oh, yeah.
If they ain't know now, they gonna know now.
This league is not only the best league in America, it may very well be the best league in the history of college basketball.
Come out with energy and fire. But we're gonna come out with energy and fire from the start to finish. Let's do what they want, man.
Alabama. Traylor Sears kicks it. Philon, right corner, 3. Inbounds Holloway, kicks it to Sears, right corner, 3. The soft touch got it to drop. 8 at 7, feeds it off to Watkins. And throws it home with 2 hands. Against Delta, puts it up and lays it off the window for 2. Nelson will drive downhill, throws it. Flush from Amore. Here in the first half, a block shot for Nelson. Hill spins, puts it up, blocked.
My goodness, what a defensive play by Grant Nelson.
Off Nelson. Timeout, Oklahoma. 8:14 remains, first half. Drive, flips it back to Nelson. Left alone, tries a 3. Another fake first 3 for Alabama. Mark back over to Reed, fakes a 3. Drive.
And that's what we want to see.
To Nelson, left alone, tries a 3, hits it, and Bama another bank first three and leads it 42-23.
Sears just too strong. And one. He said, this is how you flex on.
Absolutely. Side. Holloway, 3.
He doesn't need much room. He didn't have much room.
One Bama Sears. Timeout, Oklahoma. And listen to this crowd.
Free ball by Stevens.
As the crowd shows its appreciation for Alabama's 107-79 win over the Sooners and strike up the band.
Yeah, got it done.
First one! Hey, here we go. Let's go. I got together. You got we win. Together, we win.
And congratulations to LeBaron Philon as he was named the SEC Freshman of the Week for the second week in a row and the third time this season. Philon finished with 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals in the win.
Philon is the only player in the SEC to be named the SEC Freshman of the Week 3 times this season.
Yeah, and he also leads the team, averaging 1.4 steals per game. Let's get to know a little bit more about the freshman from Mobile.
My name is LeBaron Philon. I'm a point guard at the University of Alabama from Mobile, Alabama. My basketball experience was fun, from the start to, now. I played at Baker High School, freshman through junior year. My senior year, I moved to Link Academy in Branson, Missouri. That was a great experience. For me, blue-collar basketball is just giving everything you got, playing hard, and doing anything to win. I'm one of the type of players that like to, get after it. So blue collar has been really good to me ever since I got here.
Yep. Let's go, man.
Just being from Alabama is great. We got a couple Alabama neighbors on the team, but Mark being a leader to me has been really, cool. Because when I first got here and he was guarding me and I was driving, he bumped me. I think I stepped out of bounds. Said, "Welcome to the SEC." I said, "We got a long year." So very excited, just probably gonna bring me chills, cause I'm a hometown kid, growing up in Alabama, just, always something you dreamed of, and, just playing in front of the fans is gonna be very special.
Tide TV This Week is presented by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer. Proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide, the University of Alabama, where legends are made.
In every moment, greatness awaits. For the bold, the visionary, and those ready to take their shot. Here, we don't chase success. We define it. The University of Alabama, where legends are made.
Roll Tide, roll! The Alabama Crimson Tide. Cunningham again. Shot good and she's fouled. There she goes, and there's Barker. Timmons there. Setting her team up.
Possibly the dagger for Alabama. Right to the rim. Got it!
Kicks. Nye, right corner three. She hits it. Nye steals the inbounds. Left side to Timmons. Layup good. It's a 2-point game.
Roll Tide and welcome back to Tide TV This Week. After an opening SEC play win with a win over 12th ranked Oklahoma, the Alabama men's basketball team hit the road for their first SEC road matchup of the season.
Alabama traveled to Columbia to take on South Carolina on Wednesday night. Going into the matchup, the Tide had won 9 in a row over the Gamecocks.
The Gamecocks put a fight early on, grabbing onto the lead quick, but with the Tide up 2 at 16-14, Alabama then went on a 14-2 run to jump out to a 30-16 lead with just over 7 minutes to go in the first half. Mark Sears showed why he is a Player of the Year candidate, as he either scored or assisted on 17 of the Tide's first 25 points. Alabama stretched their lead out to 17 as they led 45-28 at the half.
Aiden Holloway started the second half hot, scoring 7 points within the first 5 minutes. Along with Holloway, the Tide's bench scored 12 of the Tide's first 18 points in the second half. Alabama led by as many as 21 in the second half as the Tide remained undefeated in the SEC play with the 88-68 win over South Carolina and Columbia.
Well, we came out of the gate good early. Mark was really good early. I think he scored or assisted on 17 of our first 25, so he looked like player of the year candidate to start the game. And, you know, I thought they did a pretty good job taking him out of it a lot, especially early in the second half. You know, I thought our defense was significantly better for the whole 40 than it had been. I didn't like the start of the second half. We've been having bad starts, especially when we have leads. So we made a little bit of a change. I thought the intensity picked up, and we were able to kind of keep the lead. I'm not sure how close they got there in the second half, but I thought we did a pretty good job keeping them at bay for the most part. I thought Mo Diabate's defense on Murray Boyles was one of the big keys in the game, to be honest with you. I mean, Colin, you know, a lot of people have him first round of the draft. He shot 1 for 6 tonight, only had 6 points. You know, I thought Diabate did a good job, great job guarding him. Mo was plus 19 in his 17 minutes when he was in, so, you know, he really impacts the game in a big way. I was happy with his effort. We got a lot of good efforts from a lot of people, so good road win for us.
Score in double figures led by Mark Sears, who had a game-high 22 points to go along with 6 assists. Sears was red hot, knocking down 4 of 6 shots from beyond the arc, and Clifford Amore finished with 10 points and 5 rebounds.
Alabama's bench outscored South Carolina's 39-4, led by Aiden Holloway's 13 points, while Darian Reed added 9, and both Aiden Sherrill and Muhammad Diabate finished with 7 each. That win improved Alabama's record to 13-2 overall and 2-0 in SEC play.
This weekend, the 5th-ranked Crimson Tide will travel to College Station to take on the 10th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies Saturday night at 7.
Bama will then be back in action at home on Tuesday night as they host Ole Miss at 6 p.m.
The Alabama women's basketball team is off to one of the best starts in program history. We'll have more on that coming up next, right here on TideTV This Week.
It is just as loud here at Coleman Coliseum tonight.
I thought the whole crowd was unbelievable. I wouldn't miss anything you could possibly be at this season because it's going to be a special season.
Alabama fans at Coleman Coliseum have been so good all year long.
What a scene at Coleman Coliseum.
Let's fill Coleman every time we get a chance to fill Coleman.
What an electric crowd here.
Let's just support this team because it's not that often that you get to put a team of this caliber together.
Welcome back to Tide TV This Week. And just like the men's basketball team, the Alabama women's basketball team has gotten off to a great start to the season.
Christy Curry's squad is ranked 18th in the nation and was 13-1 entering SEC play.
After a 79-69 win over the Florida Gators last week to open conference play, the 18th-ranked Tide returned to the court to take on the Missouri Tigers this past Sunday at Coleman Coliseum.
Unfortunately, the Tide was without the services of team leader Sarah Ashley Barker, who sustained a lower leg injury in the win over Florida.
Missouri used a 9-2 run early in the first period to take an 11-6 lead, but Alabama closed out the opening period with a 9-0 run to take a 15-11 lead after 1. Alabama connected on 12 of 13 from the free throw line in the first half as the Tide outscored the Tigers 17-9 in the second to take a 32-20 lead into the locker room at half.
Zay Green provided a spark to start the third period, scoring the Tide's first 9 points, connecting on 4 of 5 from the floor. Green scored 16 of her game-high 23 points in the second half. Alabama led by as many as 30, and the Tide improved to 2-0 in the SEC play, the big 68-49 win over the Missouri Tigers.
Couldn't be more proud of our team today. I thought we really stepped up in a big way on the defensive end and on the boards and being the aggressor. And converting and getting to the free throw line. I mean, tremendous effort from so many people on the defensive end that you can always control how hard you defend and rebound. And unbelievable effort today, and being 2-0 in the league, defending your home court. Really proud of our leadership. I thought Aaliyah and Carly and Zay were unbelievable with their voices, and just really proud.
Along with her game-high 23 points, Green added a career-high 3 blocks. Alabama had 2 others score in double figures. Aaliyah Nye shot 3 of 5 from beyond the arc, and she finished with 11 points, while Essence Cody scored 10 with 7 rebounds. Carly Weathers also added a game-high 7 assists.
The Crimson Tide defense didn't allow a single Missouri player to score in double figures. Missouri also entered the game as the leading three-point shooting team in the SEC, but the Tide held the Tigers to just 25% from beyond the arc, knocking down 3 of 12 shots.
Stay with us. We'll have our plays and players of the week coming up next right here on TideTV This Week.
Tide TV This Week is presented by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer. Proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide, the University of Alabama, where legends are made.
Roll Tide, roll! The Alabama Crimson Tide. Cunningham again. Shot good, and she's fouled. There she goes, and there's Barker. Timmons there. Setting her team up.
Possibly the dagger for Alabama. Right to the rim. Got it.
Kicks. Nye, right corner 3. She hits it. Nye steals the inbounds. Left side to Timmons. Layup good. It's a 2-point game.
Sears wanted to cross, instead goes into the lane. Beautiful wraparound bounce pass, and Nelson, the reverse slam. From behind by Nelson, and here comes Bama the other way. He goes way down against right. Beautiful bounce pass. Feeds it off to White. And moves it home with 2 hands. Side. Aiden to Nelson. Reverse layup. Good. He is fouled. It's at the pylon in the corner. Rises from the wing. 3. Count it. And he is fouled.
Weathers inbounds to an open 9. Switch.
Looks backside on the right corner. Nye lets a 3 fly and cans it.
Mark back over to Reed. Fakes a 3. Drive.
And that's what we want to see more of. Darion Reed.
And runs the other way, and the lob to Darion Reed. Memphis hesitates, stops, goes downhill, spins, puts it up, blocked, and it's out of bounds. Sears stepping back, giving it off. Nelson. Misses, rebounding inside, got it. Blocked from behind.
Randall against Zay Green to the rim, blocked away by Green, taken away by Alabama.
Sears driving, dishing, Holloway near side, 3, and there. The century mark for Alabama.
Those were our ATI plays of the week. Now let's take a look at our players of the week, brought to you by Legacy of Hope.
And Lillian, we go with a couple of starts in the hardwood, and we start with the 18th ranked women's basketball team.
Zay Green scored 23 points and had a career-high 3 blocks in the Tide's 68-49 win over the Missouri Tigers. Green leads the team, averaging 16.8 points per game.
And on the men's side, Mark Sears reached a milestone in the Tide's win over the 12th ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Sears' 22 points put him over the 1,500 career point total. He's just the 18th player in Alabama history to surpass that benchmark. Sears also had 10 assists, putting him over the 300 for his career.
A big week for the Crimson Tide hoops with some of those big wins and big-time performances.
We'll have a lot of basketball to talk about next week, plus we'll have the season opener for the Alabama women's gymnastics.
We'll have that and much more right here on Tide TV this week. We'll see you next week, everyone. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
This has been a presentation from Learfield,